Present.
Liebelt,
Present.
Reif, Johnson, Reinbold,
Present.
Langer,
Present.
Norvstrup, Mayor Schoeneman.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm always so tempted to say amen.
First item would be consideration of the agenda, which has been provided to us previously. Are there any additions or corrections to that agenda? If not, we would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Move to approve.
Second the
Motion.
motion.
Motion by Reinbold, second by Liebelt to approve the agenda. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion does carry. Next item would be consideration of the minutes of our meeting of March 14th, 2024. I would note for attention of the council and the public that there has been a proposed amendment as to the payroll section of the council meeting minutes. And so we would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended, unless anyone has additions or corrections.
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
Motion by Reinbold, seconded by Fulberg to approve the proposed minutes as amended. If there's no discussion, all in favor of approving that motion signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion does carry. We do have one sign up for open forum. I understand Casey Wisemantel is going to tell us how things went for the Class B tournament.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for letting me bug you guys tonight. I just wanted to come and spread some good news. State B basketball was held in Aberdeen last weekend, and I just wanted to reach out to the community of Aberdeen and all the partners involved and say thank you for making the event go so smoothly. Our office, we never received one phone call, people looking for rooms, so people were able to find accommodations. All the social media posts from businesses and community leaders reaching out to the guests, thanking them for coming, NSU for hosting, South Dakota Public Broadcasting, and just everybody that was involved in making that event possible. I just wanted to take a second or two and thank everybody for making our job so much easier. I know I reached out to Robin. We got in touch with the marquees and the digital billboards and reached out to all of them, welcoming the fans and athletes. Spoke to South Dakota Public Broadcasting. They said they have ways to monitor the viewership. There were 6,500 people just watching the games that didn't even attend the games. And I just wanted to thank the community of Aberdeen for making our job easier and really making Aberdeen shine and hosting the State B tournament. So, thank you.
Terrific. Thank you, Casey. Next item would be consideration of the consent calendar on which we have various hearings, daycare license, community event, and a publication of a notice of intent. We would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Second that.
Motion by Fulberg, seconded by Liebelt to approve the consent calendar. There is no discussion. All in favor signify with aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion does carry. There is no old business. First item of new business is a public hearing and possible approval of the transfer of package off-sale liquor from Jeff Rich, doing business as J Bar, to Eagle River LLC, Aberdeen, and the transfer of retail on-sale liquor from Jeff Rich, to Plaza Rentals, doing business as Plaza Rentals LLP. This is the time and place set for a public hearing. I would first ask if there are any members of the public who are here who would like to address this topic before it is considered by the council. If there are no members of the public who wish to be heard, I will declare the public hearing closed and turn this matter over to the council. Would there be a motion to approve the two transfers of liquor licenses?
Move to approve.
Would there be a second to the motion? Going once. Going twice. Motion would appear to die for lack of a second. Next item under new business would be the possible approval of appointment of Clarence Feldheim to the Planning Commission beginning on October 16, 2024. Anything on that, Robin? Ken will talk to that.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Romaine. Clarence, after being a longtime city employee as the Assistant Public Works Director, he served as an alternate on our zoning board. Recently, we've had an opening, and Clarence thought that his experience might be more for the Planning Commission rather than the Zoning Board of Adjustment. So I agreed that we would appoint him to the open vacancy, and he will continue to serve as an alternate on the zoning board until we can find a new replacement.
Great. We would entertain a motion to approve Mr. Feldheim's appointment.
I move to appoint Mr. Feldheim to the position, permanent or temporary.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Liebelt, seconded by Reinbold to approve the appointment. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion does carry. We turn now to possible approval of appointments to the Business Improvement District 2, and the proposed appointments are of Kyle Peterson, who is the General Manager of Hampton Inn, Austin Delorier, who is the General Manager of the Fairfield Inn, Dan Cooper of Holiday Inn Express, Mike Russell of Lamont Properties. We would entertain a motion to approve those appointments.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion by Reinbold, seconded by Liebelt to approve the appointments. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Deputy Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
how are these chosen? Does Casey want to tell us how they're chosen?
Would Casey want to tell us?
I sure can. How are these chosen? They are all the general managers of those particular properties. And Mike Russell being with Lamont Companies, along with Nate Kessler being with Lamont Companies. And in the past, it was always Nate who represented the Lamont properties, Fairfield, Hampton, and Holiday. And now they're extending that the general managers are allowed to attend the bid meetings if they're able to. Just trying to bring new perspectives and new ideas to the table.
Can I ask a follow-up question? So
Of
you're
course.
you're extending the size of the board by adding.
Same size, yes and no. There will be more invites given out, so more people are allowed to attend. But as far as voting numbers, they can only vote one vote per property. So even if you're looking at Mike Russell, Nate Kessler, and Dan Cooper are in attendance, there can only be one vote cast on behalf of that property.
That makes sense. Thanks.
Anything else from the council? Thank you, Casey.
Yep.
If there's nothing further, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? If not, that motion does carry. We'll turn now to the possible approval of Resolution 240301R, authorizing the Parks and Recreation Forestry Department to apply for a land and water conservation grant for a splash pad at Storybook Land in Wiley Park. And Mark Hoven, the Parks and Rec Director, is joining us and will bring us up to date.
Yeah, thank you. This is part of the grant process that we go through with land and water funds that are done through the National Park Service, through the South Dakota Game and Fish, is to have a resolution passed by the City Council to make sure that there is money appropriated next year to cover the grant. It's a 50-50 grant. Project is about 200,000, so there'd be 100,000 that the city would be committed to in 2025, and we would work with Robin to get that money into the budget. The project that we have, I sent you, I believe you have a photo of it, and doing a splash park or a splash pad out at Wiley Park. It'll replace where the porpoise pond is currently. It's part of a plan that we had put together when we did the inclusive playground out there. This is just another phase of that master plan that we had for that. And again, just from general feedback, again, that we got from the public, the board has approved this. Parks and Recreation Board approved this back in April. And staff to move ahead. Grant applications are due at the end of April. Here's something in July, and then it'll take a while for the National Park Service to sign off on it, probably in late 2024. So, any questions?
I do have a question.
Sure,
So the playground that's on here is the accessible playground?
that is correct.
Okay, so the splash pad, how big is it?
Oh, I don't remember the square footages on it. It probably would be, if you remember the porpoise pond, it'll be around 2.5 sizes of that. It's not going to be a huge splash pad. It's going to be, we're kind of space oriented in there a little bit. So
Okay, that's one more question.
yeah, it should fit in well. The water, the sewer, and all that is right there. So when we replace
Go
the
ahead,
pad,
Councilwoman.
yeah,
Would parents need to sign a waiver or anything for this?
they would not.
When do you anticipate the splash pad being operational?
Well, if things go well, it probably will not, it may function in sometime later in 2025. We're already waiting on a grant to be signed off for the Arboretum Fitness Center that was approved last year. That's waiting federal approval, it's got state approval. It just takes time to get the grants signed off at the federal level. Once that happens, we can move forward rather quickly, but we really can't do anything until they sign off. But our hope is that we'd have it in operation in the summer of 2025.
Wow, great. Anything else from the council? We would entertain a motion to approve the resolution.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Reinbold, seconded by Fauberg to approve the resolution. Is there any further discussion? If not, roll call, please. Jordan?
Councilmember Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye, motion does carry. Next item is possible approval of resolution 24-03-02R, authorizing the city to participate in a court security committee with the Unified Judicial System, Brown County, and the city manager to execute contracts, expend funds, and apply for UGS grants for security-related services and material. And I take it in lieu of the city attorney, Robin, that's going to be you.
I can handle it. Ron did give me some information. I have been involved in this committee over the last couple of years. UJS is the judicial system that handles our court systems, both Brown County and Magistrate Court at City Hall. There is an opportunity. Dave, you've been on that committee. Jordan, I think you participated in a couple of them. Mike Melke from City Hall here, Ron and myself off and on. Bottom line is that Magistrate Court being here puts us in a unique position for potential vulnerability, and they've done an assessment. They've commissioned that to make sure that everything is as safe as it possibly can be, and they come up with recommendations. This just make sure that you're aware that we are participating in this and that there may be some effort to move forward with some additional security measures within City Hall as part of that. And the county is typically responsible from a state statute perspective. Aberdeen is a little bit unique in that we have magistrate court at City Hall rather than it being at the county courthouse. So that's where our involvement comes in, and our involvement is important, and it may contemplate some changes to our physical space, and we know that there's probably some needs to do some additional security things within the building anyway. So we're encouraging moving forward with trying to at least look at what it is that we need to do to make sure that we're safe, or our employees are as safe as they can be, so.
Questions from the council? You know, I would have one for you, Robin. I mean, this is a unique circumstance. I don't know of another community that provides a courthouse to the county. But as I read that, if there are security measures that are sought, those are not gonna be on our dime. Or is that uncertain?
I would say that they should not be on our dime. That would, if it's directly related to the magistrate court, it's probably a county expense along with the UGS grant.
Or a state?
Yeah. Where this might become a little unique is that we may be able to tie in some parts of City Hall with that security measure. So if it's not directly related to the magistrate court, I think the city could end up with some expenditures, but yeah, things directly related to the court should be on the county, yes.
Any other comments or questions from the council before we take a motion? We would take a motion to approve Resolution 240302R.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Fauberg, second by Reinbold. Any further discussion from the council? Seeing none, roll call please. Jordan?
Councilmember Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye. Motion does carry. We turn now to the possible appointment of Ken Hubbard as our city health officer, and I guess we will turn to Robin for that, and I take it Ken either didn't show up for a meeting or he just got the short straw.
Well, you know, in the past, Brett was the health officer as part of his duties. And at the time Ken was hired, we had contemplated the idea that maybe that was a fit for a different department, because a lot of this stuff was perhaps related maybe to more of the actual health side of things versus inspections or that sort of thing. There's been some discussion, I think, with Chief Weig and Ken in the last several months, and you know, we've kind of gone back and forth. What we're going to do, I think, is recommend Ken become the health officer, and he'll solicit the help of the fire department when there is a need for them to be involved. If it had been the other way around, Ken would have been supporting the fire department in certain aspects. So I guess this is how we are recommending we move forward.
We would entertain a motion to approve that appointment.
I move to approve Ken as our chief health officer. Does he get to wear a badge?
I hope so.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Liebelt, seconded by Fauberg to approve Ken's appointment as our health officer. Any discussion from the council?
It was me.
Langer.
I seconded it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I don't
You
say,
sounded-
I don't
He
do
was
very
just
much.
testing you.
It was the hair
Okay, thank
down.
you. Any discussion from the council? If not, all in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Congratulations, Ken. And be sure to get a badge. Maybe a sticker, okay. We would move on to possible first reading of ordinance 240303, an ordinance supplementing the 2024 budget to appropriate funds for various unanticipated projects, activities, and expenditures. And we would call on Mr. McQuillan, our finance director, to explain the proposed ordinance.
Thank you, Councilmember Ronayne. This ordinance is a routine ordinance that provides budget authority for activities that may have been budgeted for in a prior year that just didn't get completed within that budget year. It also provides cash for new activities like the PC Dome, and it also cleans up some transfers that have occurred in a prior year. You'll see equipment, you'll see operations, and that pretty much describes the nature of this transfer. We'll come back with more later. This one primarily covers things we describe as carryover. Just a routine ordinance from the finance office, and we recommend approval.
Questions from the council?
Move to approve.
Would there be a second?
I would second that.
Motion by Langer, seconded by Liebelt. Any discussion from the council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Fulber.
All right. Jordan, are we still within our budget and
Yes, excuse me, yes, we are. These items were unexpended, most likely in the prior year, so the budgetary authority expires at 12/31, and this simply creates the budget in a new calendar year for most of these activities, the motor graders and such.
I was just gonna say, a great example, the street department won for $370,000. That was budgeted for last year. The motor grader was not received in 2023, so we're just moving that money forward to the next year.
thank you.
Good question. Anything else? If not, roll call, please, Jordan.
Councilmember Foberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye, motion does carry. We will move down to possible approval and acceptance of South Dakota Department of Transportation, Section 5339 Funding Agreement, 811261, Amendment 1, to revise a federal award amount. And I take it in lieu of Mr. Krokel, this is you, Robert?
Well, this is a, yeah, Rich had said they're pretty self-explanatory. He said, I think we can move ahead with things as described, but this one is a DOT grant that we do every year with them, and we are asking for the grant in the amount of $158,285,000.
So it's being amended, increased by $34,000.
Right.
We would entertain a motion to approve the amendment of the federal award.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Reinbold, seconded by Liebelt, to approve the amendment. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please, Jordan.
Councilmember Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Foberg,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye. Motion does carry. Move to item I, which is possible approval of various payments to Helms and Associates, and authorize the city manager to sign pay estimates. First one is invoice number 2 in the amount of $72,421.33 for AIP project. Invoice number 12 in the amount of $6,322.26 for AIP project number 3. Invoice number 25 in the amount of $272.90. That, by the way, is the least amount of money Rich Krokel has ever asked us to spend. And finally, invoice number 52 in the amount of $2,790, which is a financial closeout report for AIP project number 3. And is this you, Robin?
Yeah, it is, and I don't know that there's a lot more to add. Couple of them are the GA aprons and runway rehab and lighting improvements, and then this last one was for the, I believe, the friction. The 2,790 was for the friction testing equipment. So I think it's pretty straightforward. I would recommend approval of all 4 of those.
And we would entertain a motion to do just that.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Reinbold, seconded by Langer. Is there any discussion from the council? Roll call, please, Jordan.
Councilmember Foberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye. Motion does carry. Move down to item J, possible approval and authorization of the city manager to sign the financial closeout report for project number 3, a CARES Act grant for the Aberdeen Regional Airport.
We had received a grant under the CARES Act based on decline in revenue, or potential decline in revenue. It was a federal grant, and basically we've been using that money to pay off some of our projects as we've been going along, and they've been managing that. There's a couple of them. They've been managing that to make sure that they're using up those dollars as responsibly as they can, and this is the closeout to get the one finished, so we're recommending approval of the closeout.
We would entertain a motion to provide that authority.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Reinbold, seconded by Holberg. Any discussion from the council? If not, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion does carry. Item K is possible approval and authorization for the city manager to sign the 2024 letter of agreement with Helms and Associates after review of the agreement by the city attorney. And again, Robin.
This is basically for miscellaneous engineering work that needs to be done at the airport. It's allowing them to hire Helms for little projects that aren't covered by other engineering agreements. And if I'm reading this right, the range is between $5,000 and $7,500 is what they expect to spend over the course of the year.
And anything more than that would require additional
Right.
city council
Exactly.
approval. Okay.
Yep.
We would entertain a motion to approve that agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Liebelt, seconded by Reinbold. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. That motion does carry. It is now time for the engineering department to start spending money. We will move to item L, which is possible approval and authorization of the city manager to sign pay request number 6 for South Roosevelt Street Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project in the amount of $74,708.98. And to explain to us why we should spend more money this afternoon is Stuart Nelson.
Thanks, Councilmember Ronin. So this is the final pay request for that project, which we started way back in 2022, and it was actually completed in fall of 23. For one reason or another, the contractor did not submit a pay request to us at the end of the year. So this is just to kind of tie up the loose ends, release the retainage on the project, and pay for the concrete sawing and the seeding and restoration.
Okay. Project is complete and everything
Project,
looks
yeah, it's been
appropriate.
complete and it looks really good.
Great.
So,
Any questions for engineering department? We would entertain a motion to approve that pay request.
So moved.
Second.
Motion Fulberg, second by Reinbold. Any discussion from the council? Roll call, please, Jordan.
Councilmember Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Foberg,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye, motion does carry. This takes us down to possible approval of pay request number 8 in the amount of $72,989.82, and change order number 5 in the amount of $79,829.56 for project ST 2023-1, South Dakota Street Roadway Improvements to Reedy Construction, Inc. Stu?
so this is pay request on our Dakota Street project from last year. This is primarily for the traffic signal work that was done on 3rd Avenue. And then there was the change order was just for amounts of materials that were actually installed during the course of the project to kind of get the amounts that we have paid out to balance out. So that project is also substantially complete. There are a few punch list items that we're waiting on the contractor to finish up, and they will do that once the weather warms up and the frost goes out. But it's all pretty minor stuff, so
So does this pay out the retainage?
this does not.
That's what
We
I'm
are
saying.
still,
have the
we're still
retainage.
holding like 1%, I believe.
Any other questions for engineering director?
I have a question. about this. How's that intersection working? Are you all happy with the flow of traffic through there?
Yes, I think both from a complaint standpoint, we just don't get any complaints on that intersection anymore, and just from observation, that is one of the intersections that we have the camera system on, so we can actually monitor that from our office, and just in the times that I've observed it functions very well. Adding the left turn phases in all directions has really helped move traffic through that intersection a lot better.
Thanks.
Anything else? If not, we entertain a motion to approve the pay request.
I make the motion.
Second.
Motion Fauberg, second by Reinbold. Any further discussion from the council? Roll call, please, Jordan.
Councilmember Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye, motion is carried. Moving to item O, possible approval and authorization of bid in the amount of $2,794,367.52 from B&B Contracting for project SS 2024-1, which is a Klein Street storm sewer improvement. Stuart,
So
did I miss one?
And
You skipped one.
we have one
Oops.
in between there.
Well, let's take them out of order since I've already
Okay.
introduced it.
So yes, this is for our Klein Street project. This will be the culmination of about 15 years, 16 years worth of work shortly after our 2007 flood event. It was decreed by DENR that we fix our Klein Street storm sewer, so we started on it right away at that point. And so this last 6 blocks that we're doing up north is gonna be the last of it. It'll be all new from where it starts in Manor Park to where it discharges into Moxon Creek, south of Melgard Road. So, well, that's not entirely true. There's a little bit of it that was still at the very south end that is, but it's in good shape. So the bid for this was a little bit higher than what we had budgeted, but we don't have a lot of other projects that are going to require expenditures, so we should be able to cover the cost of this with funds that we have available to us.
Any questions for engineering director? We'd entertain a motion to approve the authorization of the bid.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Reinbold, seconded by Langer. Any question? I do have a question myself, if you don't mind.
Sure.
You said it, but I'm curious. What year was it that we started Klein Street?
I think our first project was in 2008.
Wow. Okay.
We did a real short piece right by where, it's
First piece is by the library.
right by the library.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, we actually had a collapse there.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
By the old library.
So, yes.
Yep, by the old one. Wow.
How much have we spent in total?
That's a really good question. I would say
8 million?
it's gotta be upwards of 10 million, maybe even more.
I would put it more like 15.
15,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
About $1,000 a foot to start with when we first were bidding it.
We're just a
So
little bit over that now.
Yeah, a 300-foot stretch was 300,000, and I think it's more than double that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else from the council? If not, all in favor of approving the, providing the approval and authorization signify with aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion does carry. Apologize for skipping item N, and we'll go back to N, which is possible approval of pay request number 9, which is a final payment for project ST 2022-1, North Dakota Street roadway improvements in the amount of $27,679.59 to Reedy Construction. Mr. Nelson.
So this is the portion of Dakota Street that started at Railroad Avenue and ended at 8th Avenue. There were some punch list items, some kind of housekeeping cleanup items that the contractor had needed to complete. And they have done so now, so this will basically close the project out. It's just releasing the remaining retainage that we had held on the project.
Any questions for the engineering director? If not, motion to approve the pay request.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion Reinbold, second by Fauberg. Is there any discussion from the council? Roll call, please, Jordan.
Councilmember Fauberg,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Langer,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye, motion does carry. The final item of new business is possible approval to award bids for Schedules A, B, C, and D as recommended, and authorize the city manager and finance officer to sign the necessary documents after approval by the city attorney. And this relates to water mains, can't read my handwriting, grates, hydrants, and sewer pipe. Is that you, Stuart?
This is me. Yes, so this is our pipe and appurtenances bid. I would just like to say appurtenances, that's a
I like
good
that
word.
word. Yeah.
So this is the stock of material that the city uses throughout the construction season to do repairs, if we have a water main break or if we have a collapse in a sewer or something. These are the materials that we use to repair those. In addition to the material that we do our annual water main replacement and storm sewer replacement projects that we do on a typical basis. So the bids together add up to about $352,000, which is about $20,000 less than the amount that we had budgeted for this material. So I feel like we got some pretty good prices, and we've worked with all of these vendors in the past and have had good luck with them. So we recommend that these get approved.
I bid to award the bids for A, B, C, and D.
Motion by Liebelt, second by Reinbold, to award the bids for Schedules A, B, C, and D as proposed. Any discussion from the council? If not, all in favor signify with an aye,
Aye.
and if you are opposed, nay. Motion does carry. Brings us to review and approval of the bills and claims, which have been presented to us. We would entertain a motion to pay the bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Reinbold, seconded by Liebelt, to pay the bills and claims as proposed. Is there any discussion from the council? Roll call, please, Jordan.
Councilmember Langer,
Aye.
Reinbold,
Aye.
Liebelt,
Aye.
Fauberg,
Aye.
Ronayne.
I vote aye on all except I abstain as to the payment to Homes Are Possible, Inc. With that, the motion does carry. We turn now to the city manager's report. Welcome back.
Thank you. Nice to be back. Wish we were not looking at snow for some time later in the week, but it is what it is. I guess I was lucky to have a little bit of fun in the sun this past week. We will be getting some of the information in from the Condrey study, salary study, next week, and we'll be meeting to start looking at that and what their results and recommendations will be. You will be hearing more about that here very shortly. We'll be having a department head meeting on Wednesday. Also, I will be going to the Development Corporation meeting in the middle of the week. Governor's Office on Economic Development will have a conference later in the month, and I know that Amber will be going to it. I'm thinking about attending that as well. And on Wednesday evening or late afternoon, Northern State will be having focus group meetings to start looking at some things involving how they interact with the community and what they can do within the community. And just self-improvement, I think, is more the process that they're looking at doing. So I'll be participating in that as well. And I guess that's all I've got for today.
Great. Any questions for the city manager?
Mr. Mayor, can I?
Sure, of course.
I just want to make a really brief statement about CVB. Casey and his team did a phenomenal job at the State Bees. I was one of the 6,500 watching. PBS got a donation out of me so that I could watch. But the first day of the Bees I was up there with, there was a group of 30 to 35 ag leaders from all across the state. South Dakota ag and rural leaders were meeting here. And that was the third day of their meeting on campus and in the community. They were also at the market, and they spent some time in the cinema at the Capitol Theater having a meeting. And that day they got a behind-the-scenes tour of the State Bees, and every single one of them remarked how amazing it was that Aberdeen has a hospitality room and nobody else has a hospitality room, and some of them worked as referees or, were involved in other state tournaments, and they're like, we don't have this in Rapid City, and we don't have this here and there, and they were just really impressed by the State Bees as a whole and also by what Casey and his team do. So it's a big lift, and appreciate you doing that for the community.
Great comment. Thank you, Councilwoman. Anything else from the council? If not, we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion Langer, second by Reinbold, to adjourn. All in favor signify with aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.